stream. It's going to be live as we speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, it's live right now. It's live right now. And tell me if the audio is any better over there before I kill this one. There's static on this one. We're seeing if we can fix it by going to the other feed.
Yeah, I don't see names. So I just need to know whatever name they are on the Zoom for me to be able to promote them to be a panelist.
Okay, is this better? Okay, switch to the other feed. This one, we're ending this one. I'm going to redirect you to the other stream if you haven't made the jump. Just 1 second.
Any other? Well, let me go ahead and
we're going right now. Everyone jump with me.
Ground rules while we wait for that information. We are here on the juror interview. I will be asking the questions. I want to make it clear that I'm not going to ask any questions associated with the jury deliberations, the thought process associated with juror number one.
Okay, we're going right now. Here we go.
Of the evidence or anything having to do that would adhere in the verdict. The only topics we will address are those four that I put in the original order, granting the limited juror interview.
All right, can everybody see me now?
At the conclusion of the questions that I ask, I'll have juror number one go back to wherever he is right this second, and then I'll let you, out of his presence, suggest any further questions that you think that I might need to ask based on this juror's answers at the time. So we all understand what we're doing today?
Yes, sir.
Now, I do have, and not exactly sure how I'm going to get it for the folks on Zoom, but two exhibits. So give this to the clerk, Mr. Turfs.
Okay, is everything working? I need a thumbs up from somebody.
And then put one on the witness stand. And just pull off the little yellow sticky when you give it.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I apologize.
What they are for Mr. Hunter, Mr. Hughes, and Mr. Whitney, and Ms. Anderson, and Ms. Lawrence is the court exhibit number one is juror number one's questionnaire that he filled out. I redacted his address, and court exhibit number two is the docket from that 2002 Broward case that was referenced in the defendant's motion for juror interview. And for the witness stand, you can pull off the paper clip off of it.
Your Honor, this is David Hughes. I'm sorry to interrupt. I did hear back. Derek Steichleather, or his email, dsteich, he says it would be, and for Ms. Williams, it should be Carrie Williams or C. Williams at her email address.
Okay, so this is the two attorneys from Maryland that wanted to practice.
Are you able to see me in the audience right this second?
I'm being told that Mr. Steichleather is in Judge Carroll's personal meeting room.
Okay, because if I suspect what he is on, because I have a normal Zoom and I'm using the webinar feature that we use throughout the entire trial, which is different than what I use for all my other cases. So I suspect that's the issue.
Okay.
Because he would be able to see me right this second.
Okay.
We're going to boost the audio a little bit.
I'll see if they can just watch on TV. I assume the proceedings are being televised.
Go to Recovery Addict.
My understanding is Law and Crime is live streaming this, and any number of other social media outlets are also broadcasting it live.
Your J. Hatch lawyers are welcome.
Representation as to what they are doing or what they're not doing.
Your J. Hatch lawyers are welcome to watch on our
I'd like
stream.
to proceed if that's okay with the defense. You're shaking your head yes, so.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Any questions about what we're going to do, or are we ready to bring in juror number one?
None on behalf of plaintiff.
On behalf of defense.
Lieutenant, if you can go grab juror number 1, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So help me God, I do.
So help me God, I do, is his answer. He's now under oath. He's dressed, looks sharp, looks great.
Okay, welcome, sir.
Greetings.
And I know we're in a different courtroom and a different courthouse than the last time I saw you, and I appreciate you coming today. I would assume you understand why we're here today.
Yes, I do.
So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Right in front of you, I've got a couple of sheets of paper. The first one that I put on where it says Court Exhibit Number 1, I just want to confirm that is, in fact, the questionnaire that you filled out. I think you were on day 1, so it would have been September 14th, 2023.
Yes, Your Honor, it appears so, yes.
And then the second sheet of paper behind it is a docket sheet, and I'll tell you, I just printed it out a few days ago off of the Broward County Circuit's website, so it's whatever was publicly available, involving a 2002, so more than 20 years ago, a 2002 filing by what appears to be your then wife. Is that Ayden?
Yes, correct.
Now, I've sat in the family law division, so I know how to read this docket sheet. What it looks like is your then wife filed, because it looks like you probably had minor children between the two of you, a UCCJEA affidavit was filed, and there were some allegations. You were served with the petition, and then she never showed up for the hearing. That's what I read off of this.
That is correct.
Now, here's where I'm going to go with my questions. There seems to have been some sort of reference to child allegations involving this petition. So was there any sort of involvement by DCF more than 20 years ago in this case? When I say this case, the 2002 case.
No, there was not.
No involvement by DCF.
And at the time in 2002, did you have, how many minor children did you have?
2002?
2002.
That would have been 3.
Were any of your children sheltered by DCF or whatever the entity was called at the time?
None, no.
There was, on the questionnaire, whether you had any strong opinions about DCF. So do you have, let me go back. On September 14th, 2023, did you have any opinions, strongly held opinions about DCF?
No, I did not.
How about the government's ability to remove children from the care of their parents?
No opinion at all.
This is turning into a nothing burger.
I'm going to switch gears on you, sir.
Watching
and go
the
to another
defense
topic.
attorneys, no reaction yet. Nobody's writing
There was
anything.
an
They're
allegation
just
in
watching intently.
the defendant's motion that somehow your current wife either was represented by an attorney by the name of Deborah Salisbury or was involved in a case that included Deborah Salisbury. My question to you is this. Back on September 14th, 2023, did you know who Deborah Salisbury was?
No, I did not.
When did you first learn, if at all, when or who Deborah Salisbury is?
When something was filed by the defense attorneys.
Has attorney Deborah Salisbury ever represented you?
Never.
And to the best of your knowledge, has attorney Deborah Salisbury ever represented your current wife?
No, she has not.
And when I say your current wife, when did you all get married? Not to put you on the spot.
That wasn't a question that he was prepared to answer.
I had it on a tattoo of a hippo on my arm, but it's covered.
Of the hippo on my arm, I love that. Defense is like, we were right. It was hippo.
2016?
Okay.
You're under oath. Remember, you've got to get this one right. This is the cruelest question.
Have you ever been in any sort of proceeding where Deborah Salisbury was around, to your knowledge?
Never.
I'm going to change gears on you and go to another topic, sir. The court gave repeated instructions during the trial not to have any conversation about the case, don't learn any information. In fact, I think on the very first day, I told the assembled group that you couldn't even talk to your spouse or partner about the case, and if they asked, that you were to say that Judge Carroll's a meanie and doesn't allow me to talk about this case. Were you able to follow that instruction throughout the entirety of the case until the time that you were discharged as a juror?
Yes, I was.
Boom.
At any time until the time that you were discharged, right the day before Veterans Day or
November
whatever
9th.
day that was when we
December
discharged you, at any time before that date, did you speak with
November 9th.
anyone that would include your wife concerning anything having to do with this case?
No, I did not.
Now, the motion indicates that a person who appears to be your wife, and I'm assuming it is your wife, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was following the trial on various social media platforms and on one day came to court. Okay. Are you able to tell me for sure that your wife or no one else, no one gave you any information about this case at all?
Yes, correct, Your Honor. No one, and I did not seek out any information on this case.
Now, slightly different, did you obtain any information about this case from any source outside of the courtroom at
No.
any time before you were discharged as a juror?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Let me ask you directly. There was an allegation that you may have gone online and looked at Dr. Kirkpatrick's website. Did you do that?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Did you ever observe Dr. Kirkpatrick's website, even if you did not type out the information to drive the computer to his website?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Now, sir, what I'm going to ask you to do is to go back and sit where you were. I'm going to talk with the lawyers outside of your presence, and we might have some more questions for you
What? No, Judge.
in a few minutes, okay?
Keep the camel out of the tent, Judge. Okay, this was exactly what the defense said we would get from juror number one, which is the same answers he said every other time he's been under oath and, been or under the responsibility to
Juror
tell the
number
truth.
one is
before
out
the
of our
court.
presence. I have, as I told you in the order allowing the limited juror interview, and as I said this a few moments ago, after I asked my questions, I was going to open it up to see if there were other questions, so I'll just go to the defense. Are there topics that, within those four issues that I'm allowing, that I need to dig farther on.
Your Honor, I only have really an area of inquiry as to the October 30th when his wife
Okay,
was...
I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you go to the?
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Is Mr. Altenburn from the defense?
As I'm only have a handful of questions, I think, about October 30th when his wife was in the courtroom. It seems to me that if I was on a jury and my wife showed up in the courtroom, I'd be surprised. And so, I mean, did he have any conversations about her planning to attend before she did attend? And then, I guess the next question has to be, did he actually see her in the courtroom sitting on what I'll call the plaintiff's side of the courtroom?
Doesn't matter.
Did that
That doesn't
cause
matter.
them to have any verbal or nonverbal communication with one another in the courtroom? Did they have lunch with one another that day? Did they
Anything else you can squeeze
have
in?
any discussion at all about her attendance at the court at the end of the day? And the only final question I would have would be whether or not he discussed anything about the testimony of Detective Graham, either before that testimony or afterwards.
That's a different area.
The Detective Graham issue, I mean, I've ruled on that.
Okay.
The
I thought that was still open, but if you ruled on it, that's fine.
Right, well, I mean, I think what I said was the fact that his wife posted that he's going to have questions. I think I said that this is almost as certain as death and taxes that this witness or that this juror was going to have questions.
I realize that.
Yeah, so
I prefer the question, but if you don't want to give it, that's fine. Thank you.
plaintiffs, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, we object to all of these. We do not see the relevancy to them. The witnesses already testified that he did not have any communications with his wife about the trial. The court's order, none of the instructions said, and you have to remain mute to your spouse. You can have no conversations whatsoever. You can't even look at her, presumably one of the questions in the courtroom, or shake your head or smile. And we believe that these questions are completely inappropriate and lead us nowhere towards what we understand the court's inquiry and what you're seeking here.
This is Attorney Greg Anderson for the plaintiff there. Objecting to all the
I'll go ahead
questions.
and ask, I think, one or two of them. I'm not going to ask all of them, but Mr. Turfs, was there anything that? Okay, let's bring him in real quick.
Mr. Turst, when he talks about that, that's the juror number one's lawyer.
And to be clear, this is during the trial.
So they're going to bring back juror number one. He's still going to be under oath. Ask those other two questions to see how the judge phrases them. That might be important. The one about looking at his wife, I'd be surprised if the judge asks
Okay, sir,
that.
you understand you're still under oath?
Yes.
Just a few more follow-ups. Apparently, your wife showed up in court on October 30th. That was the day before you dyed your hair, if I remember correctly. Well, your hair went orange
Yes,
for Halloween, I assume. Okay, but let me go back to the day before that. Did you see your wife in court that day?
no, I did not.
Did you have any knowledge prior to October 30th that she was going to court?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
She told me that morning that she wants to go and sit in court, and I said, fine with me, and that was the end of the conversation.
Now, so you said you didn't see her in court.
Because of my eyesight, with my readers, because of my diabetic retinopathy, I only see figures in the gallery right now. I can't ID anybody.
Well, here's where I'm going with my ultimate question. I hear that you say you didn't see your wife, but I want to make sure, was there any sort of nonverbal contact or nonverbal communication from your wife to you about this case?
No, there was not.
Okay. Thank you, sir. If you could go have a seat.
That is a styling shirt. I think we all need that. That should be our new court attire. That is way to go, Paul. I think the judge already pushed too far.
And Mr. Altenburn, based on how he answered those questions, I didn't ask some of those others because either benign contact, not about the case.
I'm not asking for additional questions.
Okay.
No additional questions, he says.
So at this point, may I excuse juror number 1?
With our utmost
Yes, Your
thanks
Honor,
and
we have
gratitude and
plenty.
the deepest apology on behalf of the state of Florida and everyone
We
else
can
in the
let him
legal
go
system.
if he wants to leave the building. That's fine. I'm going to hear further arguments from the lawyers. Mr. Terps, if you want to stay around, that's fine, or if you want to leave with him, that's fine too. But juror number 1 is free to go if he wishes to leave at this point. If he wants to come and sit in the audience, he's free to do that, or come sit here. It's totally up to him.
Come and sit behind Mr. Shapiro and make funny faces. We'll see. He may come back in. I don't know. His wife may be in there. I don't know. I haven't seen Hippo Lover in chat here. She may just be. She might be sitting outside the courtroom in the hallway.
Let's move those 2 documents in as courts exhibits 1 and 2.
He actually does not have the ability to sue Jay Hatch, unfortunately. That's one thing he cannot do. Good. He's coming back through court.
You absolutely may.
I want to sit right
But
here.
he is now
front and
excused from
center,
his subpoena, and he's free to go whenever he wishes to go.
in the jury box, like I was before.
Okay, closing arguments at this point on the defendant's motion for new trial, which is
Yes.
at DIN 3742. And since it was the defendant's motion, I'll let the defense make any arguments you wish to make at this point, if any.
So based on the testimony, it comes down to a credibility call for you to make on what he said here.
Credibility.
And I've asked for questions. We'd like to have gone to the things on the other area, but I believe you've made a clear ruling on that, so there's no reason for me to argue further on that. I do believe that those things weren't bound by a 15-day and that we had good cause for why we did it somewhat later, but you've ruled, so thank you.
Thank you. Plaintiffs?
The court essentially wrote our argument on January 2nd, 2024 order. Your Honor, it's time to put this to bed. There was no ambiguity in the witness's testimony. He was straightforward and looked at the court. I would note for the record, at least I recall that the witness used reader glasses at times during the proceedings if he had something important to see here. And there's no reason to doubt this gentleman's honesty and integrity and the answers to his questions. So we ask that their motion be denied.
Court has before it defendant's motion for new trial based on juror misconduct, which is at docket identification number, or DIN 3742. There were various supplements. Certainly the record is going to reflect the various different supplements, responses, interim orders, reconsideration, orders on reconsideration. At the end of the day, the defense has failed to demonstrate any juror misconduct. The court will therefore deny the motion for new trial based on alleged juror misconduct. That concludes the juror interview. I certainly still have a number of motions pending that we argued before the court on December 15th. Those remain pending, and I still need to address those. So my hope is that on or before Monday, January 22nd, that I will have answers to all of those outstanding motions one way or the other. You know, my hope is to do it before then, but I'm giving myself a little more than 2 weeks to go through those motions now that the juror issue has been taken off the table, and I can focus on those because I've been spending all my time on the juror misconduct allegations. So that is my plan on a going forward basis. Are there any questions, concerns, things we need to address in the interim?
Yeah, the only thing I'd comment is that I was going to check with the court reporter to see whether there was going to be a trial transcript anytime soon. And I did not do that this morning, but I will check on that tomorrow and provide the court with information on it.
I appreciate it.
Your Honor, there was pending a plaintiff's motion for sanctions, motion to strike and for sanctions dealing with the disclosure of the witness's home. Having spoken to new counsel, I'm deferring to them as to the argument on that. So I'll with that and nothing further.
Well, my recollection is where we left it is both sides wanted to see how the court was going to rule on these various motions for new trial before deciding whether you wanted to schedule hearing time to address the sanctioned motions or not. That was where I thought we had left it.
You're absolutely correct, Your Honor. This was a separate one recently filed, and if the court wants to put them in that category, that's, I mean, depending on what Mr. Turf wants to do, but that's fine with us.
Well,
this one just seemed to be oriented towards this matter with this juror, and so
I want to invest my time in addressing the motions for new trial and JNOV and those motions because
That's a judgment notwithstanding
one way or the
verdict.
other, I want to have an answer for the parties, whether we're doing a new trial or if we are or entering a judgment, whatever it turns out to be. I think you want the answer, and I want to give you that answer as soon as I possibly can.
we agree with the court's reasoning.
Anything else from any of the lawyers?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we will be in recess. I appreciate everyone being here.
We're in recess, and it's done. Juror number 1 is done. He's free to go at this time. He's leaving. Appreciate your service as a juror, juror number 1. Paul, thank you very much. To your wife as well, thank you, hippo lover. Fantastic. I love the way he stood up and didn't bat an eyelid. I love that he came back in the courtroom. After that, and so I says, I want to sit here in front of the defense and look for myself. There's a thank you from Jack Kowalski, a nod from the attorneys, and this is all over. It's over. Wow. Okay, it was short, it was sweet, it was straight to the point. It was exactly what we thought we would hear from juror number 1. And honestly, it was exactly what the defense thought they would hear from juror number 1. They thought he was going to say these same things. The question, no sanctions, says Vero S. No sanctions yet. No sanctions yet. The judge still has that on his list. He's got a to-do list relating to this trial, and it has several items that he needs to check off. Let's see who's still in the courtroom there. Still got some people shaking hands and walking out. Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Altenburn leaving right now, and there's Ms. Carrell's. I think they knew this is how it was going to end. Ms. Carrell's says a polite word. I think she's waiting to say something to one of the plaintiff's attorneys, but we'll see. All right, wow. Juror number 1 did a great job. He said exactly what he said he would, what he has said all along during the trial, even though he was asked more in-depth questions. I was right that the judge did ask a couple questions on each subject, not just the one question for each thing. The judge wanted to be thorough, even though he did not want to ask many questions beyond that scope. He was very thorough within each one that he did authorize, and he gave the defense an opportunity to say, was there anything that I didn't mention that I should ask in that section? And so he gave them that opportunity, and they, he asked almost everything that they wanted, even beyond, I think, what the judge should have. So I think as far as appellate reasons go, it was good. When does interest start accruing? Okay, Connie, the interest doesn't accrue until the judgment is entered. And then it's going to accrue. If it's at this $261 million, it's something that's like $55,000 per day of interest that accrues for J. Hatch to pay the Kowalskis. That won't happen until the judgment's entered. Of course, the plaintiffs want that entered now. They'd love it if the judge says, hey, and now that we've got some free time, I'm going to enter the judgment. It can't happen that way, unfortunately. These pending issues that could require, say, for instance, remittitor, which is when they lower the amount that the jury has awarded to the Kowalskis, that would change the amount of interest. So that you can't start accruing interest before the amount has been set. And so remittitor has to be handled before the judgment. So there's a couple issues there. There's also the sanctions. I don't know if the sanctions will affect anything monetarily necessarily, but that will probably be handled also before the judgment. The judgment is probably going to be entered here within the next, I'd say, 30 to 60 days. And I realize that's a long way out. They've waited for 5 years already, but we're going to wait and hear when the next hearing is. And then, I don't know, we might actually go down for the next hearing because that's going to be a spicy one, especially if they handle sanctions. If they handle sanctions, that's going to be a lot of fun because the judge will be unfettered in his response. He'll be able to say everything that's been on his mind while this has been going on, and saying, and now I have to hold you accountable, and you have to pay for these costs and these costs and these costs, and as a result, this is a penalty, and you may lose the right in your case to do X, Y, Z. The judge has a lot at his disposal for the sanctions, so we'll see where he goes with that. Tisha says almost 6K watching, but only 1,000 likes. Well, only 1,000 liked it, I guess. Thank you for everyone who's here. Hippo Lover, good to have you here. Thank you very much. Paul did an amazing job. Thank you. We appreciate your husband and the efforts that he put in, not just through this, I will say this circus of a procedure that he had to walk through. And I really think that the Judge Carroll allowed himself to be led into a corner and had to do this. It could have been shut down sooner, in my opinion, but he did do this, and I think it has strengthened the verdict against J. Hatch because this has been defended. There is no question now. There is no question in the public's mind. Obviously, J. Hatch says it comes to a matter of credibility. Honestly, credibility. You're going to take this witness who's dedicated 9 weeks of their life to this trial, asking the most in-depth questions, taking 12 notebooks full of notes, asking all the questions, dedicating his life to this and giving it and following every order of the court. And now you're saying, but we don't believe him? We don't believe him? Based on what? I say, based on what? Hippo Lover, tell Paul he has our thanks. Look forward to him kicking back and taking it easy a little bit. Appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Looks like Nicole Goodman's in the house as well. Goodman Law Firm. Good to have you here. Great lawyer. Our West Coast representatives. And I have her on retainer, I think, right? So if I ever need you, I'll call. Let's see. Happy birthday. Yes, if there's a birthday out there, I didn't know. When this is all said and done, have him write a book, How J. Hatch Tried to Corner and Railroad Me, but I succeeded. Book Hermit says, appreciate all your hard work to bring us these lives. Thank you from this Australian. Book Hermit, thank you. Thanks for staying up late, or early in this case, to watch this. I appreciate that. We have a lot of great fans over there and members of the channel from New Zealand, from Australia, from that part of the world, and they're all wonderful. We love you all. Your husband looked dapper, Hippo Lover, just from Constant Creek. We really liked and approved his outfit. It looks great. I wish we got to see him with the orange hair, though, for the Halloween. That would have been really cool. What happens now? Life's crazy. What happens now? Jules says, can you do a shameless plug for my TikTok? Yes, Jules, of course. Do you want to call in and do it? Or do you want to, would you rather me just link it? What would work best? For those that don't know Jules is the notorious Jules that is mentioned all the time in the court filings by J. Hatch. She lives rent-free in their head, which is just wonderful. And she has been an observer. She was here with us. She was providing information about what she saw in court, what her take was, what her takeaway was from several of the witnesses and from the jurors. She watched the jurors throughout the trial, made a point of observing different behaviors. Will do. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that, Hippo Lover. But Jules did an amazing job, and she was just like a member of the public, interested in the court case, became aware. I think I've got, let's see, hang on one second. Hold on. We're getting there. I have to leave the webinar to join Jules. Jules, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me, as usual. I'm so relieved that, in my opinion, I mean, I know we still have to wait on those other motions, but to me, this was the big thing, and I'm relieved that it's over.
Juror number one just gave a super chat with a hippo and a victory sign. Thank you, juror number one. Paul, you did fantastic.
Congratulations.
Your outfit,
juror number one.
Your outfit is going to be the Halloween costume for everyone for the next year. You are a hero. Appreciate not just the way you handled yourself in the courtroom today, but the way you handled yourself under this pressure, which I would say is unprecedented for a juror to serve admirably and then have to face that. So thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Okay, Jules, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I thought my opinion is I thought he did a great job. He was very straightforward. As the way he performed during his service for 9 weeks, I didn't expect anything less than that. My opinion, I think the defense was very contrite today. What say you?
They were very quiet. I was watching the Zoom feed so I could see the faces of the attorneys. There was not a lot of writing going on. There was a lot of looking down at the desk. I think they possibly got caught a little bit. I think with their motion where they wanted the expanded hearing, I think they thought the judge was on their side. Okay, I think they said the momentum was with us. Let's push. Let's get the big win. Let's get all this in, because if we can ask all these questions, eventually there's going to be an answer that doesn't sound right. We can make it look bad, or we can dig, or we can drag this out, or something. This will be more fodder for our cannon.
I agree.
And then with the judge's filing yesterday, where he shut them down. He shut them down and denied it without even a hearing, just on the paper alone, on their filing, without even hearing a response from the plaintiff, okay? Without even getting a response from the plaintiff. He's like, I've heard enough. It's denied. And the fact that I'm doing this is not on the strength of your argument. Calling him out on the whole deputizing people, using the analogies that were funny and humorous, but also sort of poked fun a little bit at the defense, like, you don't get it. The judge was saying, that's the only words the judge didn't include. You don't get it. Was that you don't understand. You're still missing the point, and trying to say that you are right at this point does not make you right, no matter how many times you say it. But
exactly.
But yeah, so they were deflated today. They were deflated. And there's
yeah, I agree. And and again, I can't say it enough. No one knew who his wife was. She did not disclose herself at that time. I think that the defense just, unfortunately, I hate using the R word, but, they took that community and the conspiracy theories and they ran with it as fact. And I think that's what was the defense's undoing, in my opinion. It's my speculation. But that's how the judge's order yesterday came off to me.
Yeah, I agree in large part, Jules, with what you're saying. I will say regarding Reddit, we give them a lot of flack on this, but Reddit is a community of basically true crime addicts like ourselves who have a different opinion. Honestly, that's what it is. It's people who are just as adamantly interested and involved and driven to see their side win as say the plaintiff's team. I won't say us, because we sort of watched this from an outside perspective until we formed an opinion. But they're very driven for. I'm getting feedback. I'm not sure what happened.
No, that was me.
Okay.
That was me. That was my fault. Sorry.
So that I'm not saying that Reddit is bad. As a matter of fact, I think the people on Reddit are very good at some of the things they do, and some of the ability for them to marshal forces to dig through paperwork, to comb the desert for a missing grain of sand and find it is incredible. And I give them credit there because they were able to do that with, say, for instance, my live streams of the entire court case and find every single text message or every single chat, every single super chat, every single super sticker that was given by a certain person over 9 weeks, and they did it in a very short time. So they're good at some things. I do think it's very easy when you have a lot of people who agree with you to get that group think idea, and you hear something that sounds good and to run with it and charge. And I think that's what defense did. They heard something that's like, hey, the group found out this. Yes, let's run with it. And they didn't do their homework or due diligence to the level that I think they should have, especially with Deborah Salisbury. It would have just taken one phone call, okay? One phone call, and they would have known that they were barking up the wrong tree, and there was nothing there.
Did you not think that Deborah Salisbury's affidavit really put them in their place?
Oh, she really was. She was quite offended. You can tell by that tone. She was offended that she was, wrapped up in this in the way that they had presented it, and that she was part of this whole, untruthfulness that was happening with the jury. And she's like, no, you got this all wrong. And she was offended because they were throwing her name around when they had not done the homework that would have sort of justified them in making an argument like that if it were true.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I am personally relieved for the family. This family has been through enough. And unfortunately, a lot of innocent folk was dragged into this. And, I to this day, I still don't understand, why J Hatch has gone as far as they have, but it is what it is. Yeah. I think everybody can move forward now. I mean, yes, we're waiting for the judge's decision on those other motions, and I guess we'll know within the next 2 weeks. But I don't know if you agree, but I think we could finally put this to bed, don't you?
Well, there's still some things they want to argue about. I think they do have legitimate cause for concern on a couple of the allegations where the award amount may be out of line. Specifically on ones where there's a damage amount that can be totaled up, and the award amounts may have exceeded that. Thinking about fraudulent billing, issues like that. So I think that's
true.
That's going to be handled under remediator.
True, but Scott, if the judge decreases the amount, do you honestly think that J Hatch is going to stop there? They're still going to take it from the appeals court. Right?
I think they will fight this till the end unless they enter mediation. And I think that's how ultimately this is going to end, because it's going to take mediation, and the mediation will most likely happen after the judgment is entered. Okay, obviously, because they have to know the amount. So there will be some accrual of interest, and J Hatch, somebody with the calculator on J Hatch's side, is going to sit down and realize how much it's costing each day and see what it's worth. And at some point they'll say, okay, let's see if we can just find a middle ground. Let's see if they'll agree to a lower amount if we just agree to pay them now. And in that mediation, I think that's where they're going to come to a conclusion. I'm not sure if that amount will ever be revealed or if that will be secret. I don't know how that's going to work out.
If it's a settlement, we'll never know. That's if there's a settlement, it will be sealed. We'll never know, and they'll probably have to sign an NDA on that. So
both sides have said they're open to the idea of mediation. So the possibility of that happening, the judge suggested it. Both sides said, yeah, that could work. I think honestly that they will make more grounds. Defense will make more ground on mediation than they will get in remediator. I don't think the judge is going to be knocking this down substantially. I don't think he can.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he can. It would be a juror of one if he were to take this down to 20% of its current amount. Right. You can't do that. You can't have a juror of one just completely override the will of the jury like that. So any amount he does reduce, I think, will be small. I'm thinking in the $5 to $10 million range. I would be very surprised if it got under $200 million with the judge knocking something down as a total. So
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think the judge is going to want to keep it as intact as he possibly can. But like you said, with the billing, the fraudulent billing, and what was there was another one. It was the fraudulent billing,
Yeah,
and
I think it was for Jack. Something about
Beata, wasn't it?
I think it was about his loss of companionship or something. Something about the calculation that they felt was improper or wrong for some reason. And I don't know their reason on that one, but it might have some traction, and it might reduce that to some degree.
Yeah, but yeah, mediation. I agree. I think that gosh, if they're smart, that's what they're going to do, and then move on. Just move on with this, because they have another case. They have another case coming up. I don't know if that's their reasoning behind this, on why they're standing their ground, knowing that they have that other case coming up.
Jules, I've got to take a call from Persephone. She's my agent in the courtroom, getting the media feed. So I've got to let you go, okay?
But I need a shameless plug. I'm going live with Rob Dick tonight on my TikTok.
Okay, do that.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much, Jules. Go to TikTok.
We're
Blind Gossip on TikTok.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello. Okay, hold on. I've got to call Persephone back really quickly. Sylvia says, "Hey, juror number one, you were an exemplary juror and acted honorably. You looked great today too. Hooray for the bus stop people." All right, hold on one second. I'm on the phone with Persephone. Big shout out to Persephone, who volunteered the last minute to be my media contact with the courtroom. We're in the media pool for this. This is why we can get the live feed. We're in the media pool, but it was it was tricky last minute to get all the connections made. And Persephone drove an hour to get to court, made the connection, and made that all happen. So a big shout out to her. Thank you very much for that. As you know, this is something we want to do a little bit more of. Rob Lawn Lumbers in the chat says, "Another prediction proven true. That was perfect." Rob, you were right on that one. It was short, sweet. By my time, I think we had 34 minutes of time on the clock, and I think the first 10 minutes were waiting for people to connect. Amber, welcome. What's on your mind right now, Amber?
Hello. A couple of things. One, I know we have all said thank you for your service to juror number one for his jury duty. I want to make sure we say thank you for your service for your law enforcement career. You of all people know how important the jury process is, and I thank you for your service both then and now. A common question in the chat I'm seeing, and I know chat is flying for you. Understand, y'all, this kind of thing usually happens in chambers, not in open court for everybody to see and be broadcast to the world.
Right.
This was decided to be broadcast in open court because the anonymity was lost way before this was even scheduled.
I was astounded when the judge said he was going to do this in open chambers and that he was going to set juror number one in front of the cameras, open to the media. I realize his identity had already, the cover had been blown, right? His address, his name,
right.
Everything but his social security number had already been pasted on the front page of just about everything because of some of the court filings that were not redacted. But still, it was...
Right, and as you know, and as Rob knows, when I grab documents, I review them before I post them or share them. So I've redacted a lot of their personal information out personally because I ended up getting that unredacted copy from the court. And I can't believe there were so many quote unquote mistakes for letting a lot of this information go unredacted. And I'm not going to say it's anyone's fault because I have no idea how that process works. But I would have almost bet money that they would have at least kept him off of camera, kept the camera focused on the judge or on the attorneys or something. We knew he was coming in as juror one, and judge didn't call him anything other than juror number one.
They could have treated him the same way they do a child witness, where they instruct the media who's in the courtroom to say, "Don't show the witness." Okay, just focus on the judge. It could have been simple that way. The judge, for some reason, felt that wasn't necessary. This hearing did give you the presence that, they say, somebody said in chat that, sunlight's the best disinfectant. There's no question now. It's out there. You got to hear him. You got to hear the confidence. You got to see his demeanor. You got to judge his character and his attitude, behavior, the look on his face as he answered the questions. He seemed very credible to me. He was confident, right. his voice. So I think there are a lot of people that believe that. I don't think it was fair what juror number one had to go through. And I think that this process, although it helped the case move forward to ultimate judgment, I think it hurts the jury process overall, at least in Florida and maybe across the nation, as people watch this and say, that could be me. I've got a jury summons sitting on my table. And what do I do? Do I tell the judge I can't be a juror number one? I would crush under that weight. I would crumble. I would break down. I can't handle that sort of, they're going to tear into my life and everything that happened before 20 years ago, with my wife's son, 20 years ago. That's going to be spread before the world and the media for anyone to interpret as they will. Right. Why would I want to serve on a jury if that's what I have to do? After doing everything you've asked me to, there was zero evidence there was a problem. Zero evidence. And so that is frustrating that happened. I'm hoping, I was hoping that today, obviously the judge be very short and limit it. He didn't limit it as much as I wanted. I think he asked a couple questions about his wife and nonverbal communication and everything. Paul has to go in and tell us about his poor eyesight. It's like there's no rock we can't pry under to ask questions to see what happens.
Just a second, I'm going to read Jules' comment because she wasn't able to do her shameless plug. 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure if that's a typo or autocorrect. She's joining forces with somebody on TikTok at 7 p.m. Eastern to discuss the latest development in the Casey Anthony case, which is going to be interesting because I followed that one from start to finish.
That is awesome. Jules has her own TikTok channel that she puts these streams out. I was on an interview. I got interviewed on Jules' channel last time I was down in the Sarasota courtroom. But her channel is Blind Gossip on TikTok, so you can find her over there. I do encourage you to go over there and give her a thanks if you appreciated the work that she's done, attending court, monitoring, calling in, giving us information, stuff that we can't see. We are allowed to know, but can't see from where we are. And there's her link right there. If you see that in chat, you can click over there and follow if you're over on TikTok.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a boss move was that to walk back in the courtroom?
Oh, 100%. That was, show me you're flipping me off without putting up your middle finger. That's what it was, right? That was walking into courtroom and flipping the double bird and grinning while you're doing it, all with the approval of the judge, under the beaming gaze and reflection of the judge's sea of baldness. It was fantastic. It was amazing.
It was awesome. It was the chef's kiss at the end of all of this nonsense that he had to go through. Yeah, I'm going to go sit in court and have you look at me or know I'm in the courtroom for you to say I'm not credible.
Yeah.
What was that? Not credible, but
Mr. Altenburg,
but you wanted.
I think those words choked in his throat as he said them because he knew how bad it sounded. As he's talking about, well, I think it comes down to a question of credibility. It was. You're sitting there with somebody who's not just credible, who is, dedicated their life to service of others through his law enforcement career, and has now spent 9 weeks in a very high-profile trial, led a jury in a very difficult decision, and then got put through the ringer, and then
that was my.
And then you question his credibility.
That was my entire point. This entire case of them trying to say juror misconduct on this particular juror who has already made it well known through the questions that he asked, through the trial that he was retired law enforcement.
Yeah.
Retired law enforcement knows how all of this process works, whether they're a detective that had to get called in for chain of evidence testimony in a case or not. You understand the jury process. You understand the oath that you take, that you swear to. I mean, you, as a law enforcement officer, you get that. You understand. You don't have to put any other emphasis on it. It just baffles me that they would be so welcoming of him to be on the jury, and understand they still had 5 preemptory strikes, so it's not like they ran out.
No, they didn't.
They started this trial with 5 preemptory strikes.
They wanted
I think
him.
it was.
They wanted him. He
Right,
was the first person. Realize he was juror number 1, meaning he was the first person to walk through the doors to respond to that jury service. Okay, he's retired law enforcement, respects the process, knows how to show up in court, shows up in court, sits down, answers all their questions, answers all the questionnaires. They had every opportunity. This was day 1. If they didn't want him there, they could have removed him. This was not at the end of we've used all our preemptory strikes. We can't, we're stuck with whoever's up next. It was, crazy.
Yeah, it baffles me to know that even though he was law enforcement and he had this major career in law enforcement and he's now being questioned, but you weren't so quick to question anything when he first did jury interview.
Yep.
Anyhow, I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Thanks,
and just say thank you for your service both then and now. I do hope that they are able to everybody leave you alone now. Please enjoy some solitude from all of this.
Yep. Let's see. Solo SLP says, I think juror number 1 wanted to be on camera, so we could all bask in his absolute glory and fashion sense. It was awesome. He looks great. He owns the courtroom as he walked in. The judge was jealous that he had to wear a black robe. Just glad they didn't have to sit right next to him so we could do a side-by-side comparison. It was so good. Amber, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. I'll see you on chat.
All right. Bye-bye. Amber's one of our great mods. She's known as Calypson's Vixen here on chat, but appreciate her calling in. She does a lot of document hound work for us as well. I really like Soapbox Amber. She's great. We appreciate her and all the mods who do so much work for this wonderful channel. And it's wonderful because of you. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time being here, I would love it if you would click the like button and do also click the subscribe button. This is what we do all day, every day. We are a true crime channel that we follow court cases. We gain increasingly more and more media access into the courtroom where we can bring you feeds directly from the courtroom. And so you can get the coverage that you would like of the cases that you're interested in. If that's something you would like, if there are cases out there coming up that you would like to see if we can cover for you, reach out to me on the burner phone. We have a phone where you can contact me directly. Just type !burner in chat. Mr. Spiro, if you're watching, reach out to me on the burner phone. I'd love to interview you, see what you thought about today as well. Anyway, let's see. We also have Discord. Discord, it's not my Discord. I can't say it's mine. I wish I could take credit for their organization, but this is as the gavel drops. There's a Discord page that will have all the information you want from all the cases. Oh, that's not the one. Right here. That's the one. All the cases you're interested in, whether it's court calendars, whether it's the latest court filings, the dockets, the updates, news articles, everything is out there on the Discord page about all the great cases. So thank you to As the Gavel Drops and the great people over there. There's the link if you want to join Discord. Chris says, now after the trial, the juror has an opinion of social services and DCF or CPS. They should have asked him, how about now? That would have been good points for rubbing it in their face, but the judge was not about that. The judge was very careful to not ask questions. I'm sure juror number 1 could have come up with many a snarky remark to sort of thumb his nose, but he didn't. He wasn't about that either. I think his respect for the system showed through, and it was wonderful. Thank you very much, juror number 1. All right, offer for juror number 1 and his wife to join us one day if they want to. Obviously, that door would be open. They have, as all you do, you all have my contact information. But that's cool, and only when the time's right. Melissa K. The decision was not given to juror number 1. He was ordered to appear. Dr. Joe, welcome. Let's see. Dr. Joe are you going live right now, Dr. Joe? Let me see. Let's see. By bringing the Baltimore-based appeals attorney, Mr. Strikeleather, they will push Howard Hunter off stage and will sweep that Judge Altenberg off stage too. It sounds like they did, those Maryland lawyers are getting in, and they're going to be the new representation. I wonder if they're going to lead and push to maybe get this swept up as soon as possible because of the bad press that Jay Hatch might be receiving because of it. Dr. Joe, are you going to do a live stream this afternoon? Dr. Joe, as you know, was the star witness for the plaintiff in this case. Expert witness, amazing gentleman, incredibly kind. I was fortunate enough to be able to stay at his place for the last hearing, where he was very generous in letting me stay there overnight as we got ready for the hearing the following day. And he even photobombed my podcast that night. That was fun. Let's see. We've got a call coming in. Let me see who this is.
Brooke.
Brooke, this is R.A. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing just great. What's on your mind today?
Good. I actually wanted to ask you, did you catch at the end of the court hearing about him saying, the judge saying, he kind of hesitated. He said, if we're going to grant a new trial or, and then he went and said, enter a judgment. And I thought that was really sketchy.
I think he was just, he was probably reading one thing and thinking in another. That's the impression I got from that. He has a list of things to do. He's also got remediator on there he didn't mention, so he might have been thinking, just the thought escaped him. The judge himself is incredibly smart, and he has a mind like a trap, honestly. He remembers verbal arguments that were made before him pre-trial several years ago, in this case. And he's like, if I remember correctly, you said this. So I think he just had a brain fart. And so I don't think there was anything else there, but we'll go back and watch it. I'll watch it afterwards and see if there's something there, if I get a different impression.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I thought the defense, when Attorney Anderson stood up and was talking about sanctions, and he was going to defer it to the juror number one's attorney, and the looks on the defense's face were funny. So I just had to say that too.
What they wanted there, for those that are asking about those sanctions, I've got Dr. Joe on the phone. Can I let you go, Brooke, and bring Dr. Joe on?
Yes,
is that all right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, bye. Hang on.
Call from.
Hey, Dr. Joe, are you there?
Hey, Scott, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Can I finish a quick answer and then
Absolutely, please.
Okay, I was just saying the plaintiff, what he said about the sanctions. He wanted the judge to address just that one sanction related to juror number one and the defense actions in revealing his personal information. So that's what they wanted to get the judge to handle, while they were also handling the larger issue of the juror number one interview. But on the phone with us now is the one, the only Dr. Joe Corcoran. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, other than some flu symptoms, I'm good, man. I think today was a good day, and I think that Juror 1 did, the outstanding work that you would expect from a career law enforcement officer.
Yeah, I was going to say my recommendation for the flu symptoms is Mountain Dew. Is that not a good? He told me I shouldn't drink Mountain Dew, so maybe I shouldn't do that either.
Oh my God, no! I've got a bag full of Ricola that are my lifesavers.
Oh man, that's wonderful. I hope the symptoms go quickly. You can get back to full health. Are you up to live streaming on your own channel, or are you going to take a couple days off to get your strength back?
Definitely. Trust me, the bathrobe and pajamas look is not stream worthy.
They would love it. They would love it. You'd be a hit.
Oh my goodness.
As far as the proceedings today, you had texted me earlier, and you basically you called it. You'd said that you thought this was something that was going to be a nothing burger. It would be pretty quick, a couple questions, and done. Was there anything that did surprise you in that hearing?
No, I think that the only answer that kind of strayed was explaining about his diabetic retinopathy, and I thought his answer about whether he saw his wife in the courtroom was a little confusing. confusing. But again, I don't think he. I think he stayed true to the way that law enforcement officers, who spend a lot of time in court. They know how to testify, and he answered the question, and it didn't evade anything, and just was very respectful. It was I think it was right out of the training handbook.
Yeah. And so moving forward, obviously the judge hasn't set a new date, and we're expect that to happen probably within a couple of weeks. We'd expect the next step to happen. There are a few on the schedule. Obviously, there's the motion for the new trial because of juror number 1 misconduct. That's denied. But there are some other motions for remittitor. Or remittiture, as I like to say, which is incorrect. But basically, that's lowering the amount that JHatch owes to the Kowalskis. There's also the issues of sanctions that's out there. And then we have the big one, which is what the plaintiff wants right now, and that's the judgment. For the judge to come in and say, okay, that's when he bangs the gavel and says, here's the amount, it's due now. And the stopwatch starts. And that stopwatch has a dollar sign in front of it. And it's just ticking up.
Many dollar signs, yes.
But what are we expecting? What are you expecting next, or what do you think will happen next?
Well, I think that Judge Carroll had to get this hurdle cleared, and he set his own internal deadline of January 22nd, which is about 2.5 weeks. And I would not be surprised. Just like I candidly wasn't expecting his response last evening, but I would not be surprised if he drops 2-3 Easter eggs every couple of days. I think that his intention is to have most of the answers, in public, having been published by the 22nd of January. So I would expect a fairly quick pace. But you know what? He's also shown himself to be very measured, very pragmatic, and very smart in his documentation. Again, this is not some lawyer that went to correspondence school. This guy was he's smart, and he's doing things the right way. It may frustrate us from time to time, but he's doing things in a very smart and measured way.
I definitely agree. I'm curious. We saw with the response he filed yesterday, the response to the expanded Juror 1 interview request. He shut it down, and he did so brilliantly. But that was done without a hearing. There are several things coming up. The remittitor, there's the sanctions, and the judgment. Some of those will require a hearing. I don't think all of these are just going to be the judge issues. There's a new docket drop. Surprise, judgment's been entered. I think there's going to be some more time that the lawyers have before the judge for a little more back and forth. And if that happens during, say, for instance, the sanction discussion, that could be quite spicy. I think that could be quite interesting.
For sure.
Because that's where everyone gets to bring up all the black marks they hold against the other side, and say, yeah, well, you did this and you did this, and it's a lot. It looks sort of childish, but at the same time, there are rules in the court system, and if a rule is violated, the other side basically has to call the foul. The judge sometimes will act as the referee and do that between the two, but often you have to make an objection for the judge to then rule on the objection. He doesn't blow the whistle initially. You have to call your own fouls a little bit. So that could be quite interesting, because both sides have a list going way back of all the things they think the judge needs to address using sanctions. So if that happens, I might be coming down for that one.
Yeah, and of course the condo is always open for you, sir. But
thank you. I appreciate that. It's very convenient.
Give me a heads up, and I'll make sure we've got clean linens out for you, Scott. But no, I think that with his denial that was published last evening, it's very much in line with his mood and tone of the last several days of the trial. When the whole conversation, I went back and watched the last couple of days of the trial yesterday, over the last 2 days, and there was a moment where I think Judge Carroll realized I'm being played, and the long rope that he had afforded the Hillward Henderson attorneys really got pulled in, and he was like, look, guys, quit messing around, right? And I think that when he put in Shapiro's note to the Reddit community on the bottom of page 2, top of page 3,
Yeah.
that was him flexing, right? I'm the boss here.
That's
remember
him showing
that
his
scene
work
from
on his math
Captain
problem.
Phillips?
Yeah.
Look here, I am the captain now. I am the captain, right? He was flexing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. I was a little disappointed at the beginning after we had when the judge was saying how this interview was going to go. He said, we're going to ask some questions, then we'll see what other questions you want to ask. I'm like, no, don't. But I think the way he did it was appropriate and accomplished his purpose of making sure this was, that all the areas that he was supposed to ask about were fleshed out, and that there was no doubt. The defense has no other questions. When they said, we don't have any other questions, I think they have to let this go.
And I do want to point out, it's my understanding, and I could be completely wrong, but it's my understanding that Juror 1 was given the option of, appearing behind a screen or having his face pixelated out. But, he is, as a law enforcement officer, he has been committed to doing the right thing as a career. He was so irritated and so frankly, just put off by having his integrity besmirched this way. I think that he turned down the opportunity to remain anonymous because he's got nothing to hide. And so, I really applaud the work that he did today. He was so brave because he could have hidden behind a lot of these questions could have been hidden behind,
spousal
marital privilege.
Yeah. You could have said, I have the right for you to not answer that question. And then it would have left a big question mark.
For sure. And I just don't think that, again, it's just not where he wanted this to go. He wanted to be crystal clear. I did nothing wrong and the world needs to know. Because he has been getting dumped on in these filings.
Yeah, for sure. My hat's off to him, juror number 1, who popped into chat briefly, and right there, and did his victory. He left a super chat sticker with the hippo as the victory. So, juror number 1, thank you very much. Did a great job. Just honestly, he was what anyone would want, whether you're a defendant, whether you're a prosecutor, whether you're a judge, as a model juror. Someone who was able to devote their entire time and attention to a case as long as it needed, and stay involved, stay alert, keep the notes if you're allowed to keep notes, ask the questions, and do the hard work and do it all while obeying the order of the judge. Really, there's nothing more you could want from a juror like that.
And I realize that life is full of Rorschach tests, right? I mean, we have to interpret what we see. And his questions were seen by the defense attorneys as, being biased and being, anti-JHATCH and what have you. I really appreciate what the judge did in the denial to point out this was a complicated case. He took 12 notepads of notes and asked very detailed questions about very complicated issues. And he pointed out that he not only challenged the veracity of the defense arguments, but the veracity of the plaintiff arguments as well. I really appreciate the detail, the granularity that Judge Carroll went into, really standing up for Juror 1's integrity.
Yeah, and basically, he pointed out as he spelled out, he took all of juror number 1's questions, and he spelled out not all of them, but many times when he asked a question that clearly could be interpreted as if you were the plaintiff, I'd be concerned. I'd be concerned that it sounds like that juror is leaning defense. It sounds like he's buying into what the defense is saying in their story and their witnesses are laying out. So I think he did an amazing job in just listening and weighing all the evidence.
I think that the JHATCH attorneys saw a law enforcement officer as someone who would be naturally inclined to be, pro DCF, pro process, pro, their side. And now I think They're, but they don't. They collectively, the three lead attorneys do not have a fraction of the trial experience that Mr. Anderson does. And I think this is one area where he showed.
Yeah, it was great. We didn't get to hear a lot from Mr. Anderson today. I love what we did here, where he stood up and said, Your Honor, basically, you made our argument for us in your filing, in your order. you took the words right out of my mouth. That was brilliant.
For sure.
Dr. Joe, thank you so much. I hope you're able to get some rest, put your feet up, get cozy, get some chicken noodle soup or something, and enjoy a little downtime where you can recover.
Thanks. I saw one of your audience members, and I missed the name, but recommended Greek chicken orzo soup. Just want to go on record as saying that we've got that and avgolemino by the bucket. Unfortunately, as of this morning, I also infected Mrs. Good Hair, so she's now down. It's a good thing that she was making soup yesterday.
That's wonderful. The restaurant's fantastic. The breakfast place. I'm still dreaming about that cinnamon roll. The breakfast company. I'm sorry. I'm still dreaming about the cinnamon roll that we shared there, and there's still much more to go around. But wonderful restaurant there. We went to the one. I think it was in Sarasota. Do you have multiple in Sarasota, or is it?
Well, there's the three restaurants are kind of Central Sarasota, Central Bradenton, and one in between, right on the border. So, yeah. They're doing such great work. I'm so proud of my sister-in-law, her son, my wife, the whole team. We actually had the team out for our Christmas dinner the night that you pulled into the unit that you hoped was my condo.
I'm so glad it was.
As am I and my neighbors.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great place. If you get a chance to go check it out, that would be amazing. But good food. You won't regret it. Dr. Joe, thank you very much. We'll be in touch for sure. Get some rest and relaxation in, though. But I appreciate you calling in today.
Thanks. I'm going to go pull some Mountain Dew out of the fridge.
Do that. I think a 6-pack is just what you need. That's doctor's orders from my end. Can't wait to see your next live on your channel. Thanks, Dr. Joe. We'll see you.
I hope it's soon. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I appreciate Dr. Joe. Amazing guy. As you know, he is just as incredible in person as he sounds on the phone, even though he's sick. What a great gentleman. All right. We've accomplished everything we wanted to today. We got our video feed. I owe Persephone a call. We're trying to. I need to get her a thank you is what I need to do, and I'll take care of that. So thank you very much, Persephone, for doing that hard work at the last minute and pulling the strings and making it happen. I'm not sure if I can out this, but I think Persephone will be in courtrooms. Or on or about courts soon. She's of the interest to be employed in that field. I won't out too much, but I'm super excited for that and hope things go fabulous there. So I'll get in touch with her and figure out and get that all sorted. Anything else we need to cover today before we break for this afternoon? It's about 4:30 right now Eastern time. Big thanks for Persephone or Persephone, either way. Love the breakfast company. It is so good. Oh my goodness. I had an omelet that was to die for. It was incredible. And the freshness of the ingredients of the omelet was like someone had made the omelet in my mom's garden and just picked the veggies out of the garden and chopped them up and put them in the omelet. They were that crisp, they were that fresh, they were that tasty. Unbelievable. Good stuff out there. So I can't wait to try more things on the menu. All right, that being said, let's see. I think we're done. I think we're done here. I want to give a huge shout out to my amazing mods for the great work they do. It's very difficult if you don't know. I do eat my veggies. Of course I eat my veggies, Nosy Rosie. If you're not familiar, it's very difficult to manage a chat room on the internet with more than a few, dozen people in there. And today and days like this, we get a lot of people in chat. We have amazing moderators who volunteer their time and do their dangdest, their best, and they do a phenomenal job. I owe them all my thanks. I could not do this without them. And I don't say that lightly. I literally could not have this channel without those moderators. My thanks goes out to them. Thank you so much. If you like what you saw here today, we'd love it if you came back and join us. We're live pretty much Monday through Friday, it's usually about 8:30 to 9 o'clock in the mornings when we start, depending on the court case that we're following. We haven't been following the case as we've been over the holidays, and a lot of courts did not hold court during the holidays because that would just be cruel and unusual punishment to make a jury sit through deliberations during a holiday or something. So we invite you to click the subscribe button and come back and join us on another stream and bring your input and bring your comments. This is a friendly place where we welcome different opinions. We just ask that they're shared respectfully, and we don't do the name calling thing. Sometimes on verdict days we get a few trolls that sneak in, and we try to get those fixed as best we can. But so we just welcome you and ask you to join us and become part of our little addict family. Looks like you said Megan Fox is streaming with Ian Runkle of the Bailey. Let me check this out. Let me see. We might do a redirect here if we can. I think she's live right now. All right, I'll do a redirect to Megan Fox. I was talking with her on the phone earlier today, so that's wonderful. We'd love to make that connection. We'll send everybody up to Megan and Ian. We'll end with the music as we normally do. Thank you very much. I'm so glad everything went well today. I was so stressed, but it went well. A lot of that is due to Persephone. Thank you, Persephone. I'll be in touch with you shortly. And thank you properly. Also, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again. It'll be tomorrow morning about 9 a.m. Hopefully 9 a.m. Mrs. RH flies out tonight. I might be a little bit late tomorrow. But she's flying out to see family. I'll be here with you guys. It's going to be wonderful. Party all week long, right? No, just kidding. It won't. It's work. It's work. That's all we ever do. All right, that said, we're going to wrap things up. You guys be kind to each other. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to portal over to Megan Fox's channel. Sorry, Melanie. We'll go to your channel another day. We're going to portal over to Megan Fox's channel, and when you do so, please make sure you land on the like button and make your presence known that way. And just be kind and be the good people you are over there for her as well. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Because he's the guy.